So on the next step, you leave the outside ones again out, and you pair them off. So those two, and these two. And from this step, you're going to do 3 backwards knots with these ones.
So you do 2 on each pair?
2 on each pair, yes, but it's 3 backwards knots for the... Okay, so now you bring in those 2 again and you pair them off. So it's those 2, these 2, these 2, and those 2. For your first set, you do forward knots, 2 forward knots. Sorry, it's getting messed up. For your next pair, you do 2 forward knots with the red string to start your other X. With the next pair, you do 2 forward knots. And with this one, you do 1 forward knot and 1 backwards knot. And that's so the red string could come back inside, because the red strings are not supposed to be on the outside. So then you partner them off again and you leave the outsides off. So it's those 2, these 2, and these 2. And you start off with 2 forward knots on this one. Two forward knots with the red string on this one. And 2 backwards knots with the next pair with the red, so that this string can go that way. Okay, so now we pair them off again, including the outside ones. It's those 2, those 2, those 2, and those 2. And we do 2 forward knots for each pair all the way across. For the next one, you leave these 2 out, and and you partner them again. It's those two, and these two. For your first pair, you do 2 forward knots. For the one with the red, you do 2 backwards knots with the red. For the next pair with the red, you do 2 forward knots. And then you partner them off again with bringing in the ends. And for your first pair, you do 2 forward knots. For your next pair, you do 2 backward knots. For this pair, you do 2 forward knots. And for this last pair, you're going to end the X, so you're going to do 1 forward knot and 1 backward knot to bring the red string back in. And then from there, you just repeat. So once you're done with those, you should have the same form that you had in the beginning. So from there, you just repeat your process.
Until it gets as long as you want.
Until it gets as long as you need